What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. To jump straight into it, I want to discuss this interview that came out about Aaliyah's uncle, Barry Hankerson, in which an associate of his detailed he received $90 million in settlement money after a lawsuit because of Aaliyah's accident in 2001. Not enough people were talking about this, so here's my 2 cents on it. Let's take a look at this clip right here.
Aaliyah dies. I was with Barry when Aaliyah died for a wrongful death. He got paid $90 million for her death. Am I supposed to say that on TV? Sue me. I ain't got nothing. I was with him on the negotiations. You know what I'm saying? Blackground Records. He's married to Gladys Knight.
Wow.
So he had Timberland, Genuine. Timberland, Genuine, Missy Elliott, and Aaliyah is his niece. You know.
Oh wow.
Aaliyah's his niece. So he got a settlement for $90 million for her death.
Was that just for his rights or whatever he owned?
What she would have been able to make if she hadn't have died.
Oh, okay. There was a lot of lawsuits.
I guess. Okay. But that was the settlement. I wasn't in. I was there when we went over to the. He got $90 million. He wouldn't stayed at the La Matage Hotel. We ate good, in deep mourning. Right.
Did y'all hear that? Rewind it if you have to. Remember I did that video about director Hype Williams and his silence after Aaliyah's death and all the lawsuits and settlements, not only from Aaliyah's parents, but Barry Hankerson, who owned Blackground, the label Aaliyah was on. Barry has been silent too for all these years until recently, and this could be a major reason why. This guy has put a specific number to this mystery of settlement money awarded. A huge number at that. But before I go deeper, anyone else find it distasteful how he was laughing about them staying at a hotel and eating good while supposedly mourning the loss of Aaliyah and simultaneously celebrating the $90 million Barry received? I couldn't make this up if I tried.
Now, you done pissed me off.
Anyway, let's get back into the lawsuit Barry filed against Hype Williams' production company, Instinct, in May of 2004. A year and a half after Blackground's first posthumous Aaliyah release, by the way. Money was most likely running low and some pockets were getting empty. Court documents stated, in or about October 1998, Blackground and Aaliyah entered into a recording agreement which provided that Aaliyah was to make multiple recordings and music videos for Blackground, which in turn was to distribute those recordings over a multiple year period of time. It also stated that Aaliyah was a 10% owner of Blackground, that Aaliyah was Blackground's principal artist and asset, that Aaliyah and Blackground had become closely identified with one another, and that Blackground had grown its business substantially over the years due primarily to its successful efforts to develop and nurture Aaliyah's singing career. And with that, I'm like, okay, obviously the court documents stated, as we all know, Aaliyah was the breadwinner for this label and she only had 10% ownership, not even 25%, but 10%. Okay, business is business, right? Anything is better than nothing, right? Okay, moving on. It further alleged that an August 20th, 2001 agreement provided that Instinct shall be responsible and shall assume liability for any and all loss or damage in connection with the production of the video, except to the extent arising out of Aaliyah's or Blackground's negligence or willful misconduct. Blackground alleges that Instinct failed to perform its obligations under the agreement as Aaliyah was killed in the crash of an airplane obtained and or chartered by Instinct in connection with the video production of Rock the Boat. According to the amended complaint, Aaliyah's death resulted in a substantial loss and damage to Blackground for which Instinct is liable. So from this, it's like a few days before production of the video Rock the Boat even started, on August 20th, y'all already had some type of agreement about loss or damage and liability for the loss or damage. What kind of loss or damage was Blackground expecting for this to even be in the contract for this video production? Mind you, this is a few days before the video production even started. So what loss or damage was y'all expecting that y'all had to just, slide that in the contract just in case? And was this loss or damage in any other contracts for any other Aaliyah music videos? And y'all see how the documents made sure to mention there was loss and damage done to Blackground too? The loss and damage being the money that Aaliyah was not going to be able to make because she had passed in this accident. Don't many things in this contract and this legal document seem too predictive? Like it was a sense that someone knew what was going to happen, so they had to file this and claim this just in case. And then when you think about what actually happened, it all came full circle. Now, let's get into how Berry went on his press tour last year when he finally got the funds and deal with Empire Records to digitally and physically release Aaliyah's catalog again. Why wait so long? Over 15 years? Why let Blackground Records go defunct with other artists like JoJo, Tank, and Tony Braxton in limbo? Apparently, because he got the $90 million. That's more than enough of enough. Berry didn't care about that label anymore. He didn't have to. Aaliyah was a breadwinner of that label alive and still is in death, as we will discuss. $90 million is definitely a reasonable estimate of money Aaliyah would have been able to generate for the label, especially with her growing star power back then and all of the music and projects she never got to do. Last summer, after the worldwide release of One in a Million, Berry made a post stating, as the owner of Aaliyah's catalog and label Blackground Records, I want to thank you all for allowing One in a Million to chart number 3 in the world. I cannot take the credit for managing Aaliyah, as that was never a title I held. The title belonged to Diane Horton and her husband, who managed Aaliyah from the start of her career until her passing. I want to thank Diane, Aaliyah's manager, for allowing and choosing Blackground Records to become her label. Notice how in his statement, he didn't even refer to Diane as her mother or his sister, but her manager first. It's all business with him, and it's always been. I mean, he did still work with R. Kelly after that huge scandal, and he was the one to introduce him to Aaliyah when she was only 12. In the statement, he continued, thank you to all of her many fans for keeping her music alive. I'm sorry it took so long, but when you lose a family member so unexpectedly, it takes time to deal with that type of grief. I decided to release Aaliyah's music in order to keep her legacy alive. Really? Now the part about grief, I understand. But after over 15 years, you just suddenly got the energy and excitement to release her catalog that just so happened to coincide with her 20th death anniversary, which is also over 15 years since you were allegedly awarded the $90 million for money Aaliyah was not going to be able to actively make you since she passed in that quote unquote accident you filed legal documents and insurance for?
Oh my God.
Did he really do this for Aaliyah's legacy, or because that settlement money was running low? I mean, after all, he does have his own ranch now with acres of land that could be costly. As I stated before, Barry Hankerson almost seemed like a myth because he disappeared off the radar and off the face of the earth, it seemed. Now, to add fuel to the fire and promotion of Aaliyah's catalog release, he went on all these interviews every so often crying with some called crocodile tears in between every other question. My question for Barry is, were you crying buckets of tears when you got that settlement money because of Aaliyah's accident you just so happened to have all these legal documents for? I hope that celebratory meal you had afterwards was worth it.
Why?
The release of Aaliyah's catalog, even all these years later, prompted much success with all of her albums going straight to #1 on iTunes and all the Spotify streams racking up to the millions with the release of physical CDs, vinyl records, and merchandise all selling out. They did invest heavy in this. I even remember recording some of the promos in Times Square. Barry knows how popular Aaliyah still is and always was, which is most likely the reason he had no problem finally releasing her music. He claimed he held it because of Aaliyah's mother's wishes, but how does that explain JoJo, Tony Braxton, and Tank's music releases under his label he let fall apart? Aaliyah was always the foundation of Blackground Records, and this relaunch of Blackground Records 2.0 proves just that. Nobody is really checking for the other artists on that label, just the nostalgia and joy Aaliyah's full catalog brings them. Remember the posthumous Aaliyah album that Barry claimed was supposed to come out by Aaliyah's birthday of this year? After the lackluster release in response to the Poison single featuring The Weeknd, Barry shelved it. The album wouldn't do good, with Poison being an indicator of the general public's reaction. It also must be mentioned how none of the profits have ever been allocated to not only just Aaliyah's mother and brother, but her memorial fund, which was set up to donate to the many charities Aaliyah supported. Wow. For years, Barry Hankerson let Aaliyah's legacy collect dust that her fans and some media outlets consistently blew off. It's hard to believe he just now found the importance in preserving her legacy in comparison to his pockets. He knows how profitable it is to have Aaliyah's catalog on streaming services now in this digital age of consuming music, which in time will become passive income to his label he built off of Aaliyah's talent, popularity, and success. When looking at Aaliyah's life and career, it is too noticeable that in most of her shortcomings and controversies, Barry Hankerson was somehow involved. Were Aaliyah, Eric Foreman, Anthony Dodd, Christopher Maldonado, Keith Wallace, Douglas Kratz, Gina Smith, Scott Gallen, and Morales just collateral damage in Barry Hankerson's knack for greed? This rabbit hole continues to get deeper and the puzzle is almost complete. Please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching and listening. I'll see y'all in the next video.
The only part that has been a little distasteful has been so many people angry with me because the music didn't come out when they wanted it. But I learned to live with that.
There's nothing better than loving what you do. I've got good friends, I've got beautiful family, and I've got a career that's blossoming and still growing, and I am truly blessed, and I thank God for his blessings every single chance.